Hey guys, so I'm going to actually practice presenting to see how long this takes. I am presenting on collage mapping and concept mapping by Butler-Kisber and Tiiu Poldma. So my process was first I read to overview, then I took a little break and I made my own collage, which was fun. Then I went back and I read and I made my own mind map. And then from that mind map, I made these slides, this presentation. Our plan is that I'm going to go through the presentation, and while I'm doing that, you're going to make your own mind map. Should take, I think, 5 to 10 minutes. And then we're going to choose whether you want to stay and discuss the topic or go to a breakout room, share past creations, or create and play with the form. So now is your time to get ready. Flip to a blank page in your notebook and get ready to build a concept map. Okay. So, collage mapping and concept mapping by Butler-Kisber and Tiiu Poldma. Interesting fact, Butler-Kisber and Tiiu are both from Montreal. Butler-Kisber is from McGill, which is my alma mater, but I don't know her. Moving on. So here's the overview of the presentation. I'll start with a summary of the article, then we'll analyze a quote, we'll look at collage, we'll look at concept map, then we'll look at 3 key similarities, and then we'll have an activity. Heads up, I will ask a question at the end of each slide, and so hopefully I can get at least one volunteer to make this a little bit interactive. Okay, so summary. Collage making and concept mapping are both useful visual approaches which inform qualitative work and make tacit understanding explicit and accessible. The article included examples and compared and contrasted these 2 approaches. Question: what is tacit understanding? Anyone? You can raise your hand with the little hand raise function. You can just speak out. Be brave. Oh, great. Thanks. So my understanding of tacit understanding is that there are things that you know and you can and you can say that you know them. Those things are explicit. You can say, I believe in family, and and you can say that. And then there's things. See, there's 3 of them, and I'm mixing up 2 of them. But tacit are the things that you know, or the things that you do, but you can't really express. And often your tacit beliefs can be different than your explicit beliefs. Oh, great. Thank you. Awesome explanation. I could not have done it better myself. Here's a quote. It has become increasingly clear since the latter half of the 20th century that knowledge or understanding is not always reducible to language. Thus, not only does knowledge come in different forms, the forms of its creation differ. The idea of ineffable knowledge is not an oxymoron. Question: what is ineffable knowledge? I'll be honest, I Googled ineffable, and then I said, oh, that makes sense. And then for the next 2 or 3 days, I kept seeing the word everywhere and thought, oh, I should definitely have known what that meant. But if you don't, no judgment, because I did not either. So, who's going to explain that statement? Oh, McBean, great. Yes, ineffable is not to be written. So the idea is that an ineffable knowledge is something that it can't be expressed. It's so great that it cannot be expressed. So this idea of ineffable knowledge is not an oxymoron, would mean that we can express these kind of these understandings, just not through writing. We have to find other forms of expression. Amazing, McBean. Thank you so much. Okay. Collage. Collage is gluing found images and fragments to a flat surface. It has historical roots in Japan, France, and Picasso / Braque. Those are the fathers of collage. The Japanese used collage behind calligraphy, and I would love to see some of that work. So if you're curious in diving deeper into collage, I think there's some things to follow up with there. The one positive is that it only requires simple skills, cutting and pasting skills, and it also tends to afford opportunities for juxtapositions, having different images saying something by their closeness. A couple of issues. There's a novice and elitism issue going on where, because it's such an easy skill, some people think that a child's collage may not be a real collage or artistic collage. There's also an analysis and evaluation issue, because everyone's evaluation or analysis of a collage might be different, and so in terms of using it for research, that might be tricky. And there's also a copyright issue where if you're using images or found pieces from others' work, then how might you deal with that copyright? My question for you, and this is a real question because I don't know, this is the example from the paper of a collage, and honestly, can somebody tell me how that is a collage? In the paper it said it was found pieces from a magazine article. It just looks to me like a building. I know I've been looking at this for so long and I just don't get it. Anyone? David, maybe? Oh yes, well, Kisber and Butler, you can tell in the image that that's actually individual lines, and they built that building through a magazine, and as I believe, as I said in the reading, it allowed them to open up their minds on what collaboration might mean and how that might work. So, yeah, that's my understanding at least. Great, awesome, thank you. I literally don't have an answer to that question, so that's awesome. Okay, I think we're at 7 minutes, so I think we're actually doing quite well here. Concept map. Concept map is a diagram or visual expression of ideas. So small words, sometimes encircled or linked. It's understandable at a glance, which is great. And some other pros are that it affords opportunity for simultaneous discussion as well as connections of ideas. Some issues, it can be hard to systematize, and often you need some sketching skills. And the versions often smooth out, and sometimes they kind of lose their magic. This was an example of the first version, second version, third version, and if I'm honest, I like this second version more. So those were pretty interesting. My question is, show of hands, how many people use concept map while they're teaching? And I know everyone, I'm not sure if everyone's a teacher, but if you've ever explained something with a concept map, that would count. Okay. And what about while learning? How many of us use it while learning? Yeah. I had a conversation with a grade 4 teacher this week where he mentioned that he often uses concept mapping when he's teaching on the whiteboard, and he gets students to write those notes the same way he would as a concept map, but he said he almost never linearly lists. And I think that's interesting. I wonder whether at different ages you use different strategies, and I wonder if the linear list actually deserves a little bit of respect as well. That's just my idea. Anyways, moving on. My three key takeaways were that collage and concept maps allow us to listen visually, move beyond the linear, and express emergent ideas. So now's our time for activities. You have 3 options to choose from. Either you can stay here and discuss the topic, anything that really came up, but I put a couple questions there just in case. What did you find interesting? How did you use this? How do you use this in your practice? Any discussions. And option B would be to share some sort of past creation. So if you want to do that, then we'll just ask you to ask David to put you in room 1. These can be collages or concept maps. And then the option C would be to play with the form. So take some time to create a collage and develop your concept map. And that would be in room 2. And I'm kind of hoping while you're creating, you might connect with some classmates and discuss. But if you just really get into your practice, I think that's a great use of time as well. I did this with Christina. I did this with my partner, and we used the same photos and came up with 2 different collages, which I thought were pretty interesting. I'm actually gonna add those into this presentation. So anyways, that was one thing that I thought was interesting. I can actually show you right here live. Maybe I won't add it to the presentation. Oh, where did she put it? There we go. All right, so we printed out the last 3 or 4 days worth of photos from our Google Photos, and then this is my version, and this is Christina's. Took us about a half an hour each, and then our discussion was really interesting. We talked about what we saw in each other's, and it was pretty cool. So there you go. All right, enjoy it. I think we can have 15 minutes, right, David? Yep. Okay. So if you want to be in group 1, tell David, and off you go. And I think I'll jump between all 3, if that's good. Okay. Thank you very much.